Okay, so welcome to Tyler Web Dev. We're starting our screencast for tonight's talk on Omega, which is an IoT board. Like I was telling these guys, this is something that was started on Kickstarter like over a year ago. I thought it looked cool when I saw how small it was, and like somehow there was a computer in there, which I knew Raspberry Pi had been around for a while. But the deal with Onion, they're kind of like, I don't know, they're almost like the Apple of the IoT world. Like they've got branding that's consistent, they've got like platforms, and in some cases it's probably a little less flexible than what you could do with a Raspberry Pi. You don't really have to worry about your operating system and making sure you're getting the right, Debian image onto your SD card and holding, crossing your fingers and making sure, it works right. You pretty much get whatever firmware they have, and the firmware just gets updated. There's no real management, anything lower than that, which is great for me because as a software developer, I love this platform, and it's really designed for software developers. I'm interested in this stuff up to the point of soldering. I'm not nothing against it. I think it's cool. I don't know how to do it.
Everybody's got their limit.
Right. And so I'm just interested in other parts of the stack, basically.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Right, so
you stop at the physical of the physical.
Right. And that's what's great about this, because this platform, the Omega, has been designed for software developers, and so everything about it is with kind of software developers in mind. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of it. So I've got it booted up. As you guys can see, it's super small. So I've got the board itself attached to the mini dock.
Quite a bit smaller than
I'm like, looking at this picture, I'm like, this thing's huge.
And so with the mini dock, I wish I brought it.
Hands.
If you can't see I broke the switch on it. It's so small, it is minuscule. And there was a little on-off switch that you could toggle on and off. It broke, and so now it just comes on. I was able to use a needle to toggle it on, and now it's just on whenever I plug it in. So
there you go.
And I've rubber banded it on here because it wasn't always staying together, and so it would just occasionally fall out of the dock, which seems kind of bad,
So it's like a real computer.
Yeah. It's like a real computer. And so as far as the mini dock that it's plugged into, that provides power, and obviously no one in the video can see what I'm talking about, but and it has one USB port. So and there's a little toggle switch, and there's a really small LED light on here. You can see it's kind of amber right now. Mm-hmm. We can kind of control, if this demo that I was working on goes well, we could actually control the color of that light with PHP. So that's pretty exciting. But that's kind of the goal of that. What just came in today on my way over, and you can kind of see how this, like I say, this is more the Apple style, the whole presentation as soon as you get the box, what it's like. This is very different than buying a Raspberry Pi. It's
there's actually a market for people selling the Raspberry Pi with a kit.
Right.
More like this.
Right. Did you want a case for all
the stuff you need to actually use it. Yeah.
Right.
Do you want us to charge you more? We can do that.
So this stuff just came in the mail. This is an unboxing here. This is the full size dock, or the expansion dock. And so with this, the Omega would rest in here just like on the mini dock, but you get exposure to all the GPIO pins here. And it has good stuff online about how that works. And the switch is about the same size, so hopefully I don't break it. But you've got USB power and then one USB port. So
is that the same board you brought out to get that meeting?
Yeah, I've been carrying around this in my backpack all the time. Never really doing anything with it, just showing people. And there's this, which I'm hoping the reason why I'm kind of showing these things is sort of wanting to kind of play with this at the Maker Faire, just so we can kind of maybe get a little bit further along in a project. I figure if I'm there all day, I should be able to do something cool with it.
I'll bring a bunch of jumpers and stuff that we can prototype with.
And so this is the OLED expansion, and so I don't even really know. It fits into the dock, and even if we look at the console, let me pull up the console and we can talk a little bit about it too. Whenever you get your Omega on the Wi-Fi or get online with it, you can actually, you can serial into it, or you can just connect it to the Wi-Fi. Let me go back to the main console. So it's kind of like Apple launcher. Like I just feel like it's a very, it's a lot more polished environment than what you would get out of the box with a Raspberry Pi. The whole platform is sort of here and ready to go. And they actually have OLED control. It's not going to find it because I'm not plugged up to it now, but you can like send an image to your OLED. I mean, it's like that easy. So, or send text or whatever, display on OLED. So maybe here we can switch docks and try that stuff. Like I said, I never tried it. I just got it out of the box for the first time.
What's the resolution on that? Do you know?
On the OLED?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's 2 by 20 or 25.
You probably like watch Star Wars on
Okay. It's not just like an LCD. Yeah. Okay.
So.
Multicolor.
Yeah, it's colored. And I would assume multicolor. So we can play with that.
It's red.
Red. Hope you like red. When I was showing this, I did a little it's like a starter video on the YouTube channel, and it's kind of going over this section. So like you can see, again, there's some cool status information ready to go. You can see, okay, it's running 400 megahertz Ethereum's processor. There's 64 megs of memory, 16 megs flash memory. You can see how much of that is being utilized, the storage meter here, the uptime, the Wi-Fi stuff. So again, that's all just kind of get that out of the box. If you have a webcam, you can hook that up. If you want to jump on the terminal from right here, it's just that easy. You can also SSH to it. So
what is it running like a Linux?
Yeah, it's Linux. I don't know really what it is as far as what it's based on. Wow. Like I say, this gets it's OpenWRT. So
okay.
They update the firmware and it'll update OpenWRT and the other stuff, but you don't really that's the one advantage over the Raspberry Pi. If you needed to do some real low level kernel stuff where you might need a different distribution for some reason, or you need something a little different, you would have more flexibility with the Pi. But for this, I don't think you really need it. What's cool is it's opening up these little tabs down here, so I can just kind of flip around and it's keeping me where I was. It's a pretty cool little web app.
Is that hosted on your machine or is that on the board itself?
That's coming from the board itself. And that was something I learned this weekend. I don't know how the resolution is up there, but I didn't I was so bugged out. How is it making a name that's resolvable that isn't in DNS? I'm like, okay, so I learned about multicast DNS. I never knew how Bonjour works or whatever. Okay, I've got to figure out how that works. Because you just type in the name once it's on your Wi-Fi and it comes right up. I'm like, okay, cool. I never knew that. Let's see. If there's anything else.
Zero comp or whatever. What is it now?
What are you looking at?
I'm just staring out in space.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know what you were referring to. Though it's this thing, I haven't played with this editor too much yet, but it's kind of cool. It's you can edit your entire file system through this browser. So if you want to start,
can you drag and drop files onto it?
I haven't tried that. You can do.
Built-in Sublime on board.
You see what I'm saying about this space?
Oh yeah.
There's some dreams.
Yeah.
Just a question.
Yeah, okay.
I just tried to open it back up. Just tried to download it.
So people are getting these and doing custom applications and maybe putting them in their own enclosures, that kind of thing.
That's what people are doing with all those smaller microcontrollers. It's just probably another one of those.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So there's a whole market for those enclosures, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you could get waterproof stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Tim Ogrodnik, the Suddenlink sales rep guy, him and his son built a underwater scavenging thing for Raspberry Pi.
Wow.
So brushless motors, waterproof enclosure, and it just they've got an RC controlled thing that goes and scans the bottom of the lake.
That's
which is
cool.
really kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
Do you know what the licensing is on this thing if you were to put this into a product and resell it?
I have no idea on that. That's a really good question. But I don't know.
Probably depends on the distribution.
Well, I know some of them are, they've got different open source licenses that, as long as you include different parts, different things with your product, as far as, if you use this, anybody can hack it and do whatever they want to with it. You can't lock it down and stuff like that. I can't remember what
I was kind of thinking about that and like what it would be like to use this to prototype an actual product.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this would let you get pretty far with that, with prototyping. I think if you were going to mass produce something, you'd probably then go and just.
Yeah, and I think there's always kind of room for kind of in the middle, right? Where you want to produce these and sell them, but not necessarily on a large scale. And I was working with a buddy on a project. We were trying to do some Wi-Fi enabled music players.
Okay, cool.
And you can build your own parts. If you're going to mass produce them, it's a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is getting through all of the FCC licensing, getting all of the regulations around those things. If you use devices like this,
Mm-hmm.
they've already been licensed.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of the, as far as the, the wireless capabilities and like that, you don't have to have it retested if you're just bundling it in with another thing,
Right.
which makes it a lot easier. The only issue that we ran into was using certain things was the licensing, is that you can only use it for certain things, or bundle it with a kit. Making it's already in the enclosure. Then I don't know. There was a lot of things like that, but it'd be interesting because you can build things with these things and sell them.
Yeah. And you could certainly build on, create expansions that are like, hey, throw an Omega on here and you've got a thing,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'd be cool to know, like, if you could distribute these as part of your product. Yeah, that's cool. So, kind of some things we could look at. Let me hop over to some of these tutorials on their website. Like I said, I've just been poking around their website and kind of oohing and on. Let's see.
This says the whole project from hardware to system software to an API-compatible version of the Onion Cloud will be released as open source materials. So I'm sure as long as you include the open source license with the distribution, it should be fine.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the license because some of them are more.
Yeah, it's like
it's no commercial or you can't.
Yeah, that's true.
This was something I was wanting to try to set up for today if I had, but I couldn't find a USB sound card, especially the kind that they have here, where it's a pretty, generic, cheap one that doesn't require real sophisticated drivers, because there's no onboard sound controller on here, even with the dock. So, but what they're showing with the demo here is to make an AirPlay receiver, and so you can go through the steps. It looked okay. The time required is 10 minutes, and the one thing I didn't have was a USB audio sound card. But it's just like you would do with any. And this, I was looking for a project that would work with a mini dock. Like, what can I do? I have no other, because I didn't have any of this other hardware. Like, is there anything cool I could do with just the mini dock? And this kind of struck me as kind of interesting. It's no different than you could do the same thing on a Linux box, but the fact that it works on the Omega and it's been kind of tested, and this tutorial is pretty up to date. I think it was just this last week that it was updated April 1st. So I feel pretty good. Like, we could go through these steps and it would work, and then you can see it shows in your iPhone, and you can customize what that says. But your Omega could become like an AirPlay destination, and you could mirror your iPhone audio or whatever to it. Just that'd be kind of gimmicky for here, but I mean, I could see lots of that could be a really cool application for like places like camping, like at Pine Cove. We're always like looking for different ways to use devices that people already have in kind of unique ways. So, there might be a use case for that. I haven't thought of it yet, but it's pretty simple. You just download this one product and configure it, and it's ready to go. And they even show you how to get AirPlay working on an Android.
Cool.
Wow. So, it'd be like generic to generic. I mean, not Apple on either side. It's kind of funny.
Isn't AirPlay just a spin-off of DLNA, something like that?
Oh, right.
I think it is.
Interesting.
It's like a proprietary version of DLNA, but I think it's still uses the same sort of.
What I thought we could go through, and we have, I guess it's like 7 o'clock now, so we probably have time to try it. Sorry, I keep scrolling around as I talk.
What time is this thing open?
Till 8 is our usual time or whatever. One thing that kind of bummed me out is they're not like, I might be able to get it working, but like Node's not available out of the box. Because like if I'm going to do something like this, I'd love to probably do Node or just in general. I don't really know Python at all. I don't know PHP. I don't get excited about PHP. Yeah. And so if you guys think this would be cool, we could go through and I'm not on the right page. Let me find the tutorial for it. we can set up PHP and we can actually control the little LED light on here with a web app. So.
I'm trying to figure out how this would work in the physical world. Like you said something about doing a relay to open your garage door remotely.
Well, I'm assuming that you can control those pins through the.
Yeah.
So
That would be
Because
fascinating
they're
to
showing
me.
devices, I
It
think.
would just be like an expansion slot, and just like you would send a signal to turn on the light, you would
exactly.
send a signal to rotate an
Yeah.
arm, or
there's
So, I
specific
mean,
voltage
that has
setting.
like home automation
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
implications.
Absolutely.
Is that stuff already
oh
created?
yeah,
Some
YouTube,
of it, yeah.
There's a ton of stuff.
But I mean, like in
commercial
the open
versions.
source world, it seems like you could get some pretty innovative stuff.
Absolutely.
That's not
There's some
like
pretty
terribly
crazy
expensive.
stuff.
Like
Yeah, I mean, I think there's
Home
a
automation
lot of
too.
home automation stuff that's already out there that are made for non-technical people.
right.
But the problem is, I mean, especially if like, for instance, let's say something like Pine Cove, where if let's say, you've got a lot of gates you need to open, and you want to control access with doorways and something. You can buy those things, right? But if you have the technical know-how, you can build it and integrate it into whatever technical solution you have. Like maybe there's an app that all the staff has. If they want to add, a button to open, gates.
Yeah.
Well, there's not there may not be an obvious way to integrate that with some off-the-shelf automation system. But with something like this, it's literally a web application. So you can, if you've got access to a network and you can send requests, then you can make anything happen.
Yeah. I think it just depends on use case and liability. So if any of those like specific enterprise type applications are,
You don't want just anyone having the
Exactly.
gates code.
if you don't want to get
On their app.
sued, then maybe you should think about the situation and the solution a bit more. But as far as home automation goes, there's definitely the non-technical IoT devices like Nest, like
Right,
Ring.
Nest, which
Right.
is
but those require
$450. That's
Exactly.
$249 typically.
Oh, is it
And you
cheaper?
can get a lot cheaper than that. But I mean, it's relying upon the service that's behind it.
Yeah.
And Nest is having a lot of financial troubles in the last couple of weeks, and people are slating it to die at some point. So
because it's not.
if you have a
excellent.
Nest, their service cuts off, you just have a useless piece of junk on the wall. Just a fancy looking non-usable device. And these are more, build your own, roll your own thing.
Definitely more in the maker
Yeah.
culture vein.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but these retail for $19.99.
The Omega.
That's insane.
So is that just,
I
and you
think
have
that's
to
just
get
the
the
main-
accessories
the main
like the
board.
dock.
Prices are
Yeah.
just dropping
Yeah.
on this stuff. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
The expansion boards are Ethernet expansion's $15. The OLED is $14.99. There's a GPS expansion for $15. All the expansions are about
The Ethernet, you're talking the wireless? Like it doesn't have a.
I think it's got built-in Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's got built-in Wi-Fi. Right?
So
It's
you
built
can
into
get,
the SoC.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Here's a relay expansion if you want to open some high voltage things. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's a little bigger. Yeah. Can you change how I can see that in the back? Is that
Pretty good.
It's
Okay.
good
Yeah,
enough for
it's-
demonstration.
see-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to install PHP.
There you go.
Save it. Maybe it'll work. So obviously you have a really good package system.
I was going to say.
So you're just installing the PHP package on
Mhm.
the distribution of the thing.
Mhm.
Wow.
I literally just do this. I haven't worked on this a lot.
How much storage is there? Like
It says 16 megs flash.
16 megs of flash? Sure, there's more
I'll
than
just
that.
get my megs. See what it says.
At this point, I would believe either one. So
Yeah.
Either one would be
16
12.
megs.
16 megs? Not a lot.
That's funny. It has
That's a
more.
great
It has more RAM than it does storage.
That is interesting. That's super interesting.
So, but you can hook up like a USB storage.
I may have to.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pretty small web app.
Yeah,
You
I'd
can
assume
just
it's.
replace the flash with like a
Oh,
32 gig or something.
You can.
Yeah.
Would that require soldering?
I don't see.
That sets it
Surely
up?
they'll have an
Micro SD.
expansion for that. For,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
see a micro
SD
SD.
card.
Yeah,
slot.
there's an SD card. So, yeah.
That's
Oh, we should look at
USB.
that. I meant to click on that and show you guys all the information.
That's USB 3, no doubt. Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't even look at them.
So Ethernet, GPS.
Yeah.
It's great.
Wow. Yeah, some of these things. Servo, PWM, I'm not quite sure.
There's your-
What that means.
I know you can. The proto expansion. I think you can connect Arduino boards with the proto expansion.
They have an Arduino. I think maybe there's multiple pages or something because there's an Arduino.
Okay. I'm sure they have like a native micro SD or something.
I know I saw it on here.
Docks and expansions and accessories.
This is exactly why I said
There we go. Breadboard expansions.
don't limit people to Raspberry Pi, because there's other cool little devices like this. Just different solutions from different people. Know what I mean? No, I'm saying
Is the Pi
No, they-
as expandable as this?
Pi's a little bit bigger.
Why?
As far as
Well, the Raspberry Pi's been around for a little bit. You can get there's shields for everything. You know,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I brought that too.
Because you get a lot of stuff with the Pi, it seems like, for $40,
Yeah,
where you could easily rack up some.
this is in the case.
Yeah, I mean,
Some money on
it'd be
this.
similar if you got the same capabilities.
It's a much more
Mine is
powerful
the
device.
pretty kind of OS and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's a micro computer.
right.
That has a lot more hardware built in.
Is that a Pi 1?
That probably is.
I think it's
About
yeah,
two.
that's a Pi 1. Because it's got the RCA connector.
Gotcha.
Pi 2 is about the same size.
RCA.
So is this like an aftermarket thing, or is this come? Okay.
You buy the raw board by itself.
I like the discovery. That's a lot.
Yeah, the one I used was the Spark Core, which I think is, I mean, it's like practically obsolete now. This is way more powerful.
That's the 3, right?
Yes.
That's pretty
I'm
cool.
going to find a better picture of it.
In the Spark Core, you didn't have any like OS access. You
Right.
had to, basically, you could code in a bunch of different languages, but then you'd have to send it to their service, and they would compile it to whatever their
Built-in
You
Wi-Fi.
can put
object
binaries
was.
HDMI,
What's that?
You can put binaries on it, and that's it.
GPIO.
Yeah, but you would use their service, so you could use a bunch of different things that would compile it down into whatever
It
you
has more
wanted, and then
features,
push it
but
on.
costs
And then
more.
it basically
Does it
exposed
have
a
a
web
SD
service.
slot?
Yeah, and there's some stuff out here that I haven't
Yes.
played with too much yet. That is
It's on the bottom, I
the
think.
Onion Cloud.
Because that's how you run the.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they're on the
cloud.
Oh, okay.
And so it's kind of like what it sounds kind of similar to what you were talking about. Let's see if this works.
Yeah, because it's.
But it's a micro SD.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's that Arduino.
Pi 1 is a.
Yeah.
That's our. Yeah, that's our Arduino.
I guess they're providing cloud for Arduino and
Okay.
other stuff.
Interesting.
So, again, there's a lot here in the cloud that I haven't touched. This.
Got your rubber band.
What was that? Was that SSL? They'll do SSL termination for your device.
Alright.
What is that?
I don't think it'd be strong enough to encrypt anything. That's 400 megahertz. I guess it's cool.
So the other thing we were working on still. This thing will
There's kind of in hand.
Yeah, that's cool.
tap. Okay, so PHP's installed.
Literally.
Yeah.
In-
They've got a smaller version. 0.
I guess it's like I've never heard of UHP. It's like micro.
Oh, wow.
HTTP or
It's
something.
only $5. That's what the. But there's nothing on it.
Right. You need to go use
Is
it
that
and
like a
find
little
out all the
HTTP server?
applications
Yeah.
people are
Okay.
using those things on.
You'd be amazed at all the cool little micro embedded devices.
Do you
Just embedded
do you have any
applications.
app or any recommendations
So
for
it's just proxied it.
cool channels to
PhD.
subscribe to
Yeah,
on that?
Not really.
SBI doesn't have Vim. So it's like
Oh
everything-
yeah.
It doesn't have Bash. It has Ash or whatever.
Ash.
It's Pokemon. Sorry.
Is there a good? Hey, there's an article right now. The thing I'm trying to make right. Is there a good blog for some sort of website that just keeps up with every sort of embedded?
You know,
Thing.
I haven't looked for one, so I don't know about one. But
There's probably not one. There's
a lot of like really
Oh, on Reddit.
Raspberry Pi.org has got a pretty good blog section, but just Raspberry Pi. Yeah. And they've got an article today on aquaponics, which is exactly what I was working on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to use the cloud.
Just building pears, it looks like, with or giant lemons.
Oh, that's the file.
Yeah. So it's saying, okay, I'm in www, it's saying make a water
And a bucket.
PHP.
That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want to do. Where did it go?
Maybe I need to refresh this. Close this. Oh, I guess because I had that file.
I wonder if it. I wonder if while you're installing PHP or whatever, the server that's running this web app is now.
Start. So www PHP. Okay, and then I guess it's call it that. So it's work this out. I'm gonna tab it from here. Index PHP. Nope.
Is PHP your language of choice?
Not at all.
JavaScript.
JavaScript I would be more interested. I do some PHP work, but not exactly.
Proof of concept, you got to do PHP info.
It's great. It's fine.
PHP info, and then do the,
Just experience.
just call it PHP info function. That's all I know how to do.
Save that.
Is that a watch? Apple Watch? You love it?
I guess the file navigation is just.
You
I have it.
early adopter.
Yeah. I have one.
What's the Apple Watch 2?
Okay, let's see.
You hear any rumors on that?
Who knows at this point? I would just be happy with more functional.
PHP, I guess.
That's my point. I
Yeah,
just-
That-
just like
having to do this that kills it for me. I want to just glance down at it.
What, you mean it doesn't awake or awaken until you
Yeah, you have to.
You actually have to trigger it somehow.
the glance down thing would be good?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
hey
I'm
Siri, you go, hey watch.
You started.
It should just stay on.
It's just one of the nice things about a watch is you
Let me
can.
just check.
It's
Right.
It's a brief. So if you look down at a black screen, it's not very helpful.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I want to draw attention to
Yeah.
myself. I've got it.
It's
Now,
incredible.
if you just like
And everybody's like,
First
you go.
generation.
exactly, we're talking about
Like,
if
I'm
you
sorry.
tap on it or something, will it?
You can-
Well, that's not too bad. If just a nice little tap, but nice little tap, not an angry.
I think we're close, guys.
Sweet.
PHP info.
It's doing something. It ain't
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sugar is pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
So then
Call
we're running
info.
PHP, but then there are some other things that you have to have in order to, actually make things.
Yes, the next step was trying to get it to do the only thing I can do on here, which is just kind of toggle that LED. I think you change the color or something. So
They have libraries that you have to.
yeah. So get first. You can go and stuff. Okay. Maybe my permissions were off. Maybe that's why the editor was struggling. Okay. This program that I keep going to, it doesn't get focus when I alt tab.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. It's because putty is being wrapped in this other thing.
Can you just putty to it instead of?
Yeah, I get it. I was trying to be fancy.
Terminal is Mac users.
Right, I was like, putty. What's putty?
This application is like
Please no.
100 years old and nobody's really downloads anymore, but it's still there.
Okay, so we're downloading something called PHP Onion.
So is this like a little kind of getting to know you app? Kind
Yeah.
of show off some of the features.
Right, like I said, I was trying to find something because I didn't have those expansion boards. I was trying to find something. What can I do just a mini dock? And no USB sound card. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've been impressed with it so far. It seems really feature rich for, and just because I haven't done that much work with Pi, but it was a struggle. Getting your SD card, and you can get it. You can get SD cards set up with with whatever distribution you want. But if you want to change something or upgrade something, I worked on a project for a while with Raspberry Pi, just total novelty, but I had these old BT420 dumb terminals that I wanted to hook up and get them working because I thought I liked kind of the retro look. I thought, man, I can make some I don't know, some cool applications and maybe do some Gmux, like make some cool status type screens or something. And the BT420s, the physical terminals they're pretty cool. They have like really great scrolling characteristics when you're like working on them. They make this nice clicking sound when you on the keyboard or whatever.
Right.
And so I had it working. I had it hooked up to that Raspberry Pi or that one, and it was pretty good. I mean, it was just a serial terminal onto the Pi, and then I was my hope. I haven't gotten as far with it as I could, didn't like use it to like just do cool stuff on the terminal, like draw graphs of our like registration numbers and stuff, or just do stuff for Pinecode, different kind of cool things. But Raspberry Pi is perfect for that use case, and it's easy to set it up. So that's the only thing I've really done with it so far.
What do you envision doing with it?
Yeah. I'm curious what your use cases are.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do it at the Maker Faire.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with the Maker Faire?
I don't know. I mean, if I can get it, I'm I don't know.
I've got a big collection of sensors and things. I'm just gonna bring them and we can play with them.
Yeah.
Whole day, just Lego it.
Make the farm.
Yeah, we can do the farm right there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do the farm.
Make the aquaponics, hydroponic thing.
That sounds cool.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
What is?
What are you planning?
Details. I got nothing.
So I'm trying to use microcontrollers. The idea is to use microcontrollers to automate gardening. Automate like herb gardening, fruit gardening.
Like watering and fertilizing, for
watering,
instance.
fertilizing, changing light levels, adjusting temperatures, that kind of thing.
And this would be indoor gardening or really highly controlled?
Yeah. Be controlled
You're
environment.
going to go grow pot in your basement. That's
I'm
what
gonna
you're
grow. I don't have a basement. Number one.
Don't ever joke about that if you ever go into a hydroponic store.
Oh.
Don't ever, because
Yeah,
it
we're on
doesn't
camera
work.
They
here.
really do it.
You're under a lot of scrutiny after that joke.
It's becoming less and less so, though.
So we're saying.
Yeah.
But use the Raspberry Pi to monitor, and kind of create some sort of
Oh, because you could put
scientific graphing on it.
hydro probes to see
Mm-hmm.
your moisture level.
Yep.
Got the spinny on the board.
Like, oh, it's not
Is it working?
wet enough.
I don't know.
With dump more water.
And that's kind of like a data center application too. You could create something
Yep.
to
You
do
can
moisture.
graph it out and measure just.
Okay, obviously Shields need to
when
put
your
relay, but the
pumps are
RGB
going, when
LED
they're not
works
going,
fine.
kind of
But the expanded
Suggested
deck in
variables
your page
based
will
on
look like this.
simple ideas, and then
Maybe we need to switch docks.
make it controllable or powered through solar cells.
Maybe that's strictly just a power.
That's pretty cool.
The idea is to get like a compact enough unit that you can send to third world countries where they can just develop. There's a Keurig out on the corner. Develop a small container that can be sent to developing nations where they can build a micro farm in their community.
That's amazing.
It's a neat idea.
So you guys are really going to do it Saturday?
I'm working on it now. Yeah, I've been working on it. Of course, I've got PVC pipes and stuff. They're kind of not available in third world countries, but still working on it.
Going to be the joint project for
We
Saturday?
don't say joint when we're talking about.
Hydroponics.
That's the first.
I remember now what it was. I went into this hydroponic store and I wanted like some reflective material
Mhm.
for photography. I was going to build a reflector, and that's all I wanted. And I joked about the pot thing, and it was just they would not sell it. They refused to sell it. And I'm like,
As is their right.
oh
Hey.
yeah,
Cannabis is a real thing these days.
It really is.
Cannon culture.
Just, whatever you want to record on here is fine.
Are we recording this?
oh crap.
Hey,
And it is the FBI's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
you know,
I guess that
Or
warning
switch
would have
to
been.
the other dock.
They don't care if it was the ATF's Wi-Fi. I'd be
Right. You have already been.
So you think that they've got that is just a power indicator,
I'm
LED,
guessing that's what
and
the
that's
deal
not
is.
actually the one.
Because I see some little pieces on here that are about the
what's the?
same size.
Do you have the code? Because it might. Does it? Do you have the code to change the LED?
That's what I was going to pull. I'm going to try it on this dock and see if that works better.
Because it's probably just a power LED.
What's the maker?
Yeah, I think it is. I see some what look like the same size.
If you look at your,
LEDs on the
your
dock.
code,
It's
it
like,
will probably
it's
identify
called
which
a
pin
mini
it was.
maker.
Okay.
That's where it's
Because
gonna
on
be the Discovery Science
Arduino,
Center, and
you
they're
have to
gonna have a
identify
bunch of
which
different booths with
I see.
different local.
And you can see
whatever
it.
So I might still be able to
interesting
toggle
innovative
what you're
ideas
seeing. There's
and
the
concepts and
bigger
products,
LED.
and it's geared a little more towards the youth.
Yeah.
And
but
like robotics clubs and that kind
Yeah.
I
of thing.
think so, right?
Exactly.
It seems like so it's this Saturday. So,
It's gonna be pretty neat.
yeah, it's pretty cool. We'll be there.
That's I would love to do some robotics, like
Bring the kids out. Come hang out
workshops
on Saturday.
and things. Pose interesting problems and give kids the tools and teach them how to use them, and then see what they come up with. Like here's a bunch of parts and some microcontrollers, and that's why I think things like this are awesome because you don't have to worry about tethering or anything. You can literally build an interface in a web app that's simple and drive some servos, build some closures and think, okay, you got to build something that can get from point A to point B or whatever, and just see what people come up with.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that kind of thing would be super fun.
Just seems like
Maybe pictures. For
you could have kids coming into this thing with little to no computer programming knowledge, and then come out with it with a whole new appreciation. That you can make things in the physical world happen
So it's not
through
just
software,
theoretical.
not
it's,
just I can make web pages,
Right.
Which is not that that's cool, but there's a limited interest level with some people. But when you say, look, you can actually make something that's going to do something.
Once
I
you
mean, everybody
create a
saw
physical
what was
product.
that Big Hero 6 or whatever. Robots are freaking awesome. Everybody loves that stuff, and the tools are out there now to.
Did you know that Caldwell does something like that?
I don't know what Caldwell does. I need to keep up with it. I'll wait for my wife to tell me what they're doing.
They're supposed to be
Be
doing
more
something
involved.
like that. And
See, you're better than I am.
I don't want to do that,
I forgot this one still has a functional on-off switch.
It's not turning
well,
on.
for now, be careful.
Yeah, you're right. Pretty new, bro.
but FBI back door.
This is a really cool device.
Yeah, that's super cool.
The light was on. It'll get hot too. I left it on for a few hours.
Does it need a heatsink?
Maybe.
I wonder if that's an accessory.
Oh, you know
I
what?
can get on the Raspberry Pi.
You're shifted down here.
Oh.
You got a pin. That's
I can
off.
imagine if you get it in an enclosure, it's going
There it
to
goes.
pretty heated up.
I bet that's the LED that.
You can overclock those too. That's
Oh.
what
Yeah.
Look at you.
Seemed a little.
Do Morse code or something
I
on
think
it.
it was coughing for a minute.
Yeah,
there.
that's- when that goes solid, it's booted up.
Oh.
Sorry, I knew we need a. Yeah. And it's
So-
kind of
Their
fresh.
camera
It's like,
first,
like,
yeah.
hold
What,
it up.
what
It's
is the
like-
process? Is that like an ARM SoC? type
Yeah,
thing?
it was like a set of Ethereums, 400 megahertz
Okay.
in MIPS. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that much
Well, it's technically a
about it. Just plug
system.
them in and go to the website.
Yep.
It's technically a system on a chip.
Yeah.
It's got the whole stack. Microcontrollers.
If you're running Linux on this thing, you got more than just a.
Yeah,
full-
okay.
It's not an Arduino.
Right.
Right.
Arduino is just the bare
Uh-huh.
processor, and you just write to it.
We got a solid. It's gonna happen, guys.
Does anybody else hear that buzz? Is it just me?
I
Yeah.
It's the lights.
Okay. Let's make sure.
Okay, so we're back on the new. I don't know.
Yeah, we should have plugged them. No. We
Yeah,
didn't
like
do
hot,
that.
hot plug the LED. Let's go back to what we're doing now.
Yeah,
What
we
did-
still
what
haven't had a
did you do, by the
successful
way?
linkage.
Yeah.
What did you do? Swap that?
He's got this little dock that it's plugged into that has some additional things
Okay.
on there, and one of them is a pretty bright LED. And we think that what we thought was the LED that we could blink is actually just a hardwired power indicator that we can't actually do anything with.
And so like connect to PHP, hand off the request very, very slowly. probably if it works, you probably start blinking right once and then off.
That seems awfully slow.
Is the blinky code through
It's still
PHP?
working. Let me go back to the home screen of this thing. There we go.
So it's sending a request that's not
Yeah.
completing, right?
Yeah.
Look at the code for the buttons. See what it's trying to do in the background.
On here?
Yeah, see if you can see the code on the button.
Probably this is just.
Or is that,
that's
did you make
just
that PHP
No,
file?
no, it came with the little package of them. So we can-
But I mean, the button is the button acting like a link, or I mean, it's have to be sending an HTTP request.
Listen to my buttons.
Yeah,
It's just calling. Yeah, it's just calling
different pages.
It didn't finish.
Something flash.
It's inside.
Okay.
So, okay. Obviously, shields are needed for the relay, but the RGB LED works fine with the expanded dock, I'm guessing, and your page will look like this. Maybe I need to keep doing more to get to. Maybe it just says the RGB. Maybe that's the only thing that works. Let me try to go back to the home screen here, because that was coming up.
See if it'll write something to the OLED.
Here it
Oh,
is.
yeah, it's red.
Okay.
Something happened.
Click again. Ooh, it's red again.
It's just red.
Oh,
Can it make the other colors? It's got RGB on it, so.
It had green at one point.
Yeah.
press it with blue intentions.
Blink does not work, but RGB LED works.
All right, so it sounds like it's trying to PHP is trying to interact with the system somehow. And
Yeah.
it's getting,
Yeah,
it's
It's probably calling some weird PHP library that's like writing to that pin and telling it to make
Well, the
whatever
one thing
color.
it promised us working so far was that one RGB LED.
R255
Can you
See
open
what
up
else
the
it
G0.
figure out what that's calling, and
Omega PHP?
there it is using the
Oh,
library.
library. Switching LEDs.
From a photographer standpoint, you could make all sorts of weird little.
I'm
Things.
still trying to,
You're
yes.
trying-
Yes.
It would be
potential
nice to be
endless.
able to, program your lights from your phone, instead of having to have somebody be like, "Hey,
There are things that
Dim
do
that
that
thing.
already.
There
I
are.
know," but that's not what this is about. This
No.
isn't. Let's talk about all the things we can buy that work out of the box. This is how can we rig up crap ourselves.
Oh, here we are. Here we are.
And through those innovations, you create new things, new possibilities. So
I have Philips Hue lights, and they are not open. And then I have
Right.
the GE.
So
lights,
with
and
the
they are open.
oh, okay. So you can program them.
Yeah.
Okay, but the Philips Hue you can't.
I think there's an API for the Hue stuff.
Okay.
There is, because I know there's that weird app that
I haven't tried those things out.
you can start putting the.
Here's the
Technology
PHP
on
class
the light
stuff
start.
backing that stuff.
nice
amplify.
beatboxing, by the way.
Yeah. I might have done that once or twice. I might have beatboxed once in my life. Chris was just like,
Sorry, this is like the most cheesy. There's the set RGB LED.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
what's being called. That's what you want. Right GPIO.
that's what it is. It's a GPIO.
I wonder how we can change the color. Value equals hex RGB color.
Okay, so that's awesome. I love it.
Public function value equals off.
That's a lie, because it's on.
That just seems conflicting. Or string off. Oh, okay. So you can do a color. I don't know what all we can do in here. I'm just gonna overwrite the library here.
Something hex? Yeah.
Do you need a hex number for a color?
You think like 0 hex maybe? Do like blue?
Do you want a hex value for blue? Oh, you already have
He already knows it.
it. Somebody knows.
Dude.
that.
What are these?
No, that's green, guys.
Hey,
Yeah, that's great.
come on.
RGB.
That's F.
Ooh,
That's not
What's
G.
up with this everywhere?
That's an F. That's clear.
It's not like my VI. Okay. I'm gonna just it's working like like VI, but it's not letting me out of the file. Nope.
I mess up more code with VI.
Okay, we'll go to the other editor. And see
Like, I think I just deleted everything.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got me a VI book for my birthday, and it's
Yeah.
like this thick.
Like, it's just an editor, but
It's crazy.
we could start the Emacs versus Vi wars again. Just do that thing.
Now, if you really,
I use Nano. I don't know
So-
if you guys are Pico.
you can get
Pico.
into the tabs versus spaces debate,
Yeah.
and then the 2 spaces versus 4 spaces
Yeah.
debate. That's what always gets my team going. It's ridiculous.
Two spaces versus four spaces.
I mean, there is a right answer, but
Kill the process. See if it works. Yeah. So this is welcome to the world of IoT. This is don't
Yeah.
expect it to be much different than what I'm doing right here.
Yeah.
The
This
roll,
isn't
roll your own
it doesn't get smoother than
Well,
this.
this isn't exactly set up. You're not in operational mode right
Right.
now.
yeah,
Right.
It's
So
like full
This is
on
to inspire you guys to go think of things.
play prototype.
A whole
stuff.
lot.
But it would be cool though if they had kind of a virtualized version of that where you
Right.
can program, on an IDE, you
An
can
emulator.
program it, and emulate it,
Is that what Sonic Pi is?
and then push it.
It's mini bindings in Ruby.
Right. Okay. What was the? Okay, I thought what you were showing a little while ago was that like a virtualized Pi, or is it? That was just the code.
It's just the application running compiles.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought.
No.
But then, they ship it by default on Pi 3
Okay.
for whatever Raspbian,
It's so metal.
which doesn't work here as well.
There it is.
I like my Rasp PBX.
Let's see what it did.
My retro pop.
There you go.
Play my
Yeah, you have to clean that up.
Yeah. I got a 32 gig SD card just loaded with
Yeah.
ROMs. It'll play PlayStation games perfectly. It'll with a Bluetooth controller. I'm just like, yeah. Nice. It's because I got sad because I sold all my PlayStation.
do you do that from a Pi? Sweet. I had a bunch of Dreamcast games.
It'll play
Like old ones?
The Pi 3 will play Dreamcast supposedly, but I don't have a Pi 3 yet. So
There we go.
somebody now does.
I was checking out the RetroPie stuff. RetroPie is what's that. I got my the clear Game Boy color case. You should check out some of those kits.
That's
Because you gotta get the full color, like HDMI, like mini display.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm hooking up the TV. Just get back.
Oh no, I gotta do it like while I'm waiting on the girlfriend.
I've got the Game Boy.
I'll play
On
20
my,
House
like-
Pro Skater on the Game Boy.
I've got my 60-inch TV with like a Game Boy.
Yeah,
yeah. Playing Mario.
See, I've got PS4 for that.
No.
I'd be on the street.
Well, I changed that RGB, the default value, but it didn't. It's just not doing anything. Or that's not the right format.
So
Else.
if value equals off, okay, so that's then
But you
so we're
chose
going
value.
into this else thing.
Yeah, you're going to L.
Set LED on dock. Where is that log?
What is EXP LED?
I don't know. Ooh, there's like a command. Is that it?
So whatever you put in, it's running this command on,
Okay.
on the CLI. EXP LED, maybe do EXP LED.
Yeah, can we just run that from the terminal?
Yeah.
Just see if we can.
I don't know what.
Do like a loop and run all the dips with it.
Oh, hold on.
Hey. Slow down now.
It's
Okay.
a rough graphic.
Like, do you know how I refer to it? Maybe this is like. Just initialize the relay chip.
Cool.
So hold on, it looked like that was just a comment though that was in it. The
No, do the
yeah, it looks like the EXP LED. Yeah, right there, and
and
then
the %S is the hex.
that's your string. Yeah.
Okay, let's try.
Hex value.
And I'm just assuming it exports basic colors.
Setting LED too. Did work.
What?
No.
Lower.
Is there any smoke coming out of it?
Up.
There it goes.
So sensitive. It's
Oh,
green.
awesome.
Boom.
Yeah. What's
Blue. Blue. Red, white, blue.
So that hex was right.
I think it's
I think that green light came on before when you did that. So sorry, don't.
No, it worked.
that
It worked
confused me.
fine.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think I will go ahead and stop the screencast unless you guys think we need to.
No, that's
What is the where